In a small town where the days moved like slow, measured gears and the sound of hammers and revving engines punctuated the air, there lived a car mechanic named Darren Cole. Darren was the kind of man whose skill with engines was matched only by the quiet dignity he carried in every measured step. The auto shop where he worked was his haven, a patch of earth dotted with grease stains and hopeful dreams. Amid the clatter of tools and the comforting hum of well-tuned machines, Darren's life was as genuine and grounded as the steel he so meticulously mended. On an ordinary afternoon, when the sun's rays played over dusty panels and oil-stained floors, Darren encountered an event that would change the course of his days. A battered sedan arrived at his shop, its paint faded by time and travel, its owner too rushed to linger. While doing his routine inspection beneath the driver's seat, Darren's experienced hand brushed against something unexpected. Hidden in the recesses where dust and detritus usually lay was a neat wad of cash, wrapped in a faded paper envelope. For a moment, time seemed to halt as he stared at the bundle. Each bill whispered promises of relief from long-standing hardships. The money, it appeared, was left behind, possibly forgotten by someone in haste. In that instant, the practical mind of the car mechanic warred with the emotional tremor inside him. Darren was a man of integrity, known for his honest work and quiet reliability. Yet, the lure of that unexpected windfall was almost irresistible. It wasn't that Darren was greedy. He was a survivor in a world where every dollar mattered, but rather, the discovery struck him like a beacon, illuminating the possibility of a life free from the constant worry of financial strain. After all, months of struggling to repair engines while scrimping on every expense had worn him down. The thought of stable days without debt or constant sacrifice was a tantalizing glimpse of hope. That evening, in the solitude of his modest apartment, Darren sat at his small kitchen table, the envelope of money spread out like a treasure map before him. Moonlight filtered through the window, and as he carefully counted the notes, the sense of moral ambiguity grew heavier. Was it truly right to accept what was clearly an unintended gift? Each bill flickered with the possibility of renewed strength, a chance to fix his aging car, repair the leak in the roof, or even invest in a new set of tools for his trade. However, with that hope came a whisper of unease. Darren's heart, though beaten by hardships, ached with the knowledge that fortune found in secrecy might bring unforeseen consequences. Days turned into weeks, and the envelope of money became both his secret salvation and his hidden burden. Darren began to use the funds to stabilize his finances, paying off old debts and quietly improving his workshop. The transformation was gradual yet profound. Where once he labored with the resigned stoicism of a man worn thin by repeated struggles, now there was a flicker of optimism in his eyes. Business picked up as word of his improved service spread through the town. Cars that once sputtered their way into his workshop now roared back to life under his skilled hands, as if propelled by the very spirit of newfound fortune. Yet, as often happens when life offers a gift that seems too good to be true, a series of unsettling events began to unfold. The money Darren had embraced, like a double-edged sword, seemed to attract shadows even as it cast a light on his promising future. Slowly, things started going missing. At first, it was small amounts, a few dollars here and there from his earnings, an expensive wrench misplaced beyond recovery. Darren brushed off the incidents at first. In his mind, he was the victim of ordinary misfortune, a mere byproduct of a hectic life filled with constant movement and many hands working in his busy shop. But soon, larger discrepancies emerged. A significant portion of his savings vanished into thin air. Tools that were once lined up orderly along the workbench disappeared. Even parts of his workshop, which had not been touched by his own hands for years, were inexplicably taken during the quiet hours of the night. Darren's anxiety grew with every lost item and every dollar that evaporated from his account. The paradox was alarming. The money that had once promised relief now seemed to vanish along with everything he tried to build upon it. Haunted by the realization that every vestige of fortune was being eroded, Darren was driven to question if the mysterious envelope was cursed or if perhaps fate had its own notion of balance. In whispered conversations with his closest friends, the ones who had cheered him on from years past, he admitted his guilt and fear. They urged him to confront the situation and search for explanations. Darren took it upon himself to secure his shop as best he could. He installed makeshift locks and kept a vigilant watch on every crevice of his business. Late into many restless nights, as he pored over records and recounted every cent, the sense of dread became overwhelming. Yet, the more he sought to reclaim what was lost, the more elusive and tangled the mystery became. It wasn't long before Darren's investigation led him into a labyrinth of unexpected encounters. His inquiries, initially discreet, began to attract the attention of questionable characters. A gray-haired man in a threadbare jacket mentioned seeing figures lurking around the back of the workshop on cold evenings. An ex-employee hinted at knowing about secret dealings and unspoken alliances within the town. There was talk of a hidden network of opportunists, individuals who knew how to vanish without a trace, leaving chaos in their wake. Darren, in his desperation, realized that not only was his money slipping away, but the very symbol of his newfound stability, the envelope of cash, seemed tied to an invisible chain of misfortune. During one particularly stormy night, as rain pounded relentlessly against the tin roof of his workshop, Darren's worst fears materialized. While he worked late to secure his records, a sudden noise jolted him from his concentration. The flash of lightning illuminated the doorway as a shadowy figure emerged. In that fleeting moment, Darren caught a glimpse of a gaunt face with eyes full of cunning. It was as if the thief carried the sorrow of lost opportunities and regret, wrapped in stealth. Before Darren could call out, the intruder made off with a bundle he hadn't even realized he kept. In that very room lay the remainder of his ill-gotten fortune, left unattended for just a moment too long. The betrayal of the night left Darren not only empty-handed, but with a heart weighed down by remorse and sorrow. The irony was cruel. The money that had come to him like an unexpected gift had, in its passing, robbed him of the trust and security he had so long yearned for. In the days that followed, the emptiness of his bank account was matched by the hollowness in his soul. The silence of his workshop was punctuated only by the clink of tools and the echoes of memories. Each lost asset was a reminder of the transient nature of fortune, a lesson engraved in the secret ledger of his life. Darren's struggle gradually became a mirror for all those who had ever dreamt that a single stroke of luck could erase a lifetime of hardship. He found himself at a crossroads where every decision was laden with the weight of responsibility and the bitter taste of betrayal. With time, a moral awakening gripped him. He began to understand that the fortune found was not a remedy for his poverty, but a catalyst that exposed the delicate balance between hope and greed. In the quiet hours of the night, as he fixed engines and mended battered frames, Darren began to see that every coin possessed a story, one that could lift him out of despair or plunge him deeper into it. As the seasons changed and the town slowly recovered from the chill of winter, Darren resolved to share his story. In an intimate gathering at the local community center, where the townsfolk had long admired his resilience, he recounted the mysterious episode that had turned his life upside down. With trembling eyes and a soft, sincere tone, he spoke of that fateful day when a simple discovery had seemed to offer hope, only to bring hardship in its wake. His tale was not one of supernatural curses, nor was it simply about crime. It was a story of human frailty, of misplaced trust, and of the price one pays when fortune is handed without context. He explained how the allure of easy money had clouded his judgment, and how, in trying to hold on to a promise of escape from poverty, he inadvertently opened the door for those who thrived on exploiting vulnerability. Darren's confession was less a lament for the lost funds than it was a moral lesson for all who listened. He implored the audience to consider that sometimes the greatest treasure is not the glittering windfall, but the values and honest labor that shape one's life. The loss of his money had, paradoxically, enriched him with a profound understanding of what truly mattered: trust, community, and the integrity that perseveres despite adversity. In the wake of his confession, the community rallied around him. Neighbors shared their own stories of hardship and inadvertent losses, and a collective empathy bound them together in their shared struggles. Darren set up a modest fund through which the town could support each other during lean times. The initiative was built on the belief that while external fortune could vanish as quickly as it had come, the strength of community and the commitment to doing right by one another would endure. In many ways, Darren's misfortune became a turning point for the small town, illustrating the universal truth that material wealth is fleeting, but the wealth of character and solidarity lasts beyond the loss of coins and cash. Over time, Darren's workshop transformed from a place of mechanical work into a sanctuary of renewal. Regulars who once came only for repairs now gathered to share meals, laughter, and insights about life's unpredictable currents. The scars of the past, each stolen item and missing dollar, faded into bittersweet memories that served as a reminder rather than a burden. Darren's eyes, once clouded by regret, began to shine with a wisdom that only hard lessons can impart. His was a life rebuilt not on the promise of fortune discovered under a car's seat, but on the foundation of resilience and mutual care. In quiet moments after closing time, Darren would often sit by the window, watching the town go about its daily life, and reflect on the irony of fate. He had once believed that the money, as if it were a magic talisman, would open doors to comfort and security. Instead, it had ushered in a storm of misfortune that stripped him of what little he had, but simultaneously taught him that every windfall comes with hidden costs. The lessons he learned were woven into the fabric of his soul, that the true riches in life are forged through honest work and steadfast trust, and that wealth measured solely by currency is as transient as the flicker of an autumn candle in the wind. There were days, particularly during long, cold mornings when the world outside was cloaked in a mist of regret, when the memory of that seemingly blessed envelope stung the most. But with each sunrise, Darren began to find solace in his evolved understanding, choosing to see his losses as catalysts for growth rather than the final word on his destiny. In a twist of fate, the misadventures surrounding the missing money had, ironically, become the greatest teacher in his life. It was a reminder that no matter how precarious one's financial situation might be, the true measure of wealth is found in the heart's capacity to forgive, rebuild, and embrace life anew. As months gave way to years, the narrative of Darren's experience spread beyond the boundaries of the small town. People from distant communities reached out, curious about the mechanic whose misfortune had led to a renaissance of spirit. Interviews in local newspapers, radio discussions, and even a small documentary captured his journey, a tale that was both cautionary and inspiring. The moral he lived by grew into a proverb in the community. True wealth lies not in what is found, but in what we hold within. His story served as a silent beacon for anyone who had ever faced despair after an unexpected turn of fate. Darren's life became an open book of authenticity and resolve. He continued to work on cars with the same skilled hands that had once discovered that mysterious wad of cash, each repair a quiet metaphor for mending broken dreams. The lessons of loss and misdirected hope were inscribed in every scratch he polished away, every engine he coaxed back to life. And as he moved forward, the memory of that fateful day under the car's seat no longer haunted him. Instead, it fueled his determination to build a legacy based on the deeper, more permanent currencies of community, love, and integrity. In the end, the windfall that once promised quick relief revealed itself to be a transient shadow, a fleeting trick of chance that taught him more about life, loss, and the true meaning of prosperity than any sum of money ever could. Darren Cole, the humble car mechanic, emerged not as a victim of misfortune, but as a man reborn through the crucible of experience. His journey, marked by a series of heart-wrenching reversals and eventual redemption, remains a timeless reminder that sometimes the path to wisdom and fulfillment is paved with losses, and that true fortune is measured by the strength of one's character and the bonds of a caring community. Through every twist and turn, Every moment of hope and despair, Darren's life taught him, and all who witnessed it, that even in the most seemingly ordinary moments, fate has a way of unveiling profound truths about our hearts. It is in those unexpected, small miracles, like a wad of money found under a car seat, that life's most compelling lessons are hidden. And when such lessons are learned, the scars left behind become not marks of shame, but badges of honor that remind us to cherish the imperishable treasures of trust, perseverance, and love.